Good evening, everyone. This is Run Pure Sports Golf Wars show, and I'm going to stop saying I'm filling in because apparently I'm. I think I've done this more than JBC has so far this year, but he's a little bit under the weather, and hopefully he'll be back with you guys next week. But you are going to be stuck with me for the next hour or so. I am here with my boy Schneider and Bryce. Boys, what's going on? We ready for a little Florida, the Florida swing of the PGA Tour? Are we ready for it?
Yeah, I think so. Ready for some earlier golf. Don't have to wait until noon with these short field elevated events over on the West Coast. Get some morning golf, different type of grass and greens and all that type of stuff here. Got the Bermuda grass greens here. Interesting how they kind of took this course and kind of made it a lot easier than what it used to be. It used to be one of the more tougher tests, but with this overseed, it's a lot easier now. So it'll be fun, though. Kind of a weird event where no 10K golfers, so it'll be fun.
I've heard about this overseeding. It seems to be a very hot topic. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the scores were a lot lower. I mean, you used to get single digit under par here quite a bit. Last few years, we've been looking mid-teens to the high teens as the winner. Last year, I think the last couple of years really kind of played a little soft. We had a little wet weather. Don't necessarily have that right now. We may be seeing some wet weather come Friday afternoon, may soften this up a little bit. But, yeah, you're right. I think we should be expecting some lower scoring than maybe we are used to here. Of course, you've got the bear trap. So we've got that's fun, but not as exciting as far as the field goes. This used to be one of the premier events, not so much anymore. Bryce, how's it going, man? What's your take? Just a little overview on what we got to look forward to this week.
I think the number one thing to look forward to is you kind of get like unique pricing on DraftKings that you don't normally see with no one above 10K with all the withdrawals from this tournament. So I think that in itself is kind of interesting. It might be as interesting as the golfers playing this tournament because you got some absolute no names out there. I never thought I'd see Ryan Sherrard, the favorite to win an event at 16-1, but here we are. And, it's not some shit ass tournament in Mexico. I like the Cognizant a lot more back when it wasn't the Cognizant. I do like the Florida swing, though. California swing isn't really my thing. Most of these guys live in Florida. They don't live in California. You see, even last week, you see all these putts on POA, and it's just an absolute shit show for some of these guys. Like Gerard, for example, his ball striking's completely on right now, not to get too deep into the field here, but he couldn't putt at all the past couple of weeks. So, you'll see some guys who are just much better. Like around the greens is probably the biggest difference, and on the greens, like between the two. And I just like Florida golf more than California golf in general. So yeah, I came kind of close last week. I think I came in 13th in the big, like $25, and the team had Siwoo on it, and that was obviously not any good. So like anyone besides Siwoo, and it would have been up there, like with the winners. So. Hopefully we carry some of that momentum into this week. As I said, it's pretty unique pricing structure, so I do kind of like that. And just go a little bit deeper in the pricing structure. How many 6K guys is too many? I'd say more than one. Like you really don't have to go down there. And we'll talk about some of the nuances of this, but I don't find myself in that range very often. Like there are some guys that you do want to play, but I didn't limit it, but I can't imagine I got more than one on any team.
Yeah, I mean, typically we're looking at these weeks going, all right, let's start with Scotty. Let's figure out how we fit his 14+ K salary into the mix. And like you said, I don't think I've ever, in all the years playing, I don't think I've ever seen a tournament with nobody over 10K. I possibly in any sport. I don't know. Well, in any of the sports that are priced in this way, I don't know if I've seen anything with less than 10K and for the most part. So yeah, it's super unusual when I looked at it. And yes, we got quite a few WDs. And this tournament this was Jack's tournament. Everyone used to come out for Jack. I feel like now I'm getting old because now it's like these younger guys, it's like maybe Jack's just not as important as he was when I was in my 20s. It's like the Byron Nelson. I never saw Byron Nelson play, so he was a name when they had the Byron Nelson tournament. And now it's like, is Jack becoming just some name? The day Tiger just becomes some name is the day I'll be probably in a home somewhere, but I'm not looking forward to that one. But it's just kind of lost a little bit of its luster. Great golf course. The fact that it's not all, they're not playing the Bermuda. I don't know how much golf you play down here. I can't. First of all, I can't chip on AstroTurf, so I'm terrible to begin with. But chipping on that stuff is brutal. With the overseeding, I think it's made it a lot easier. Does take away from a little bit of the advantage that the Southeast guys had growing up on this stuff. I've heard Billy Ho talk about it. He's a Florida guy where he felt like he had a bit of an advantage hitting out of that. So, I mean, the ball it'll just sink in there, and it's real difficult to kind of figure out what kind of lie you've got and how the ball's going to come out. So an advantage there. And you're right. The one thing I don't like about California is the Poana greens. So if you've ever gone out there and played out in California and putt, they're just never, they might be beautiful greens, but you won't, two putts from the same spot will just never go exactly the same time after time. On the Bermuda, you should get a much truer roll. So I think the guys do appreciate that a bit more. So we've got that to look forward to. But listen, it doesn't really matter when you're playing DFS. I mean, does it really matter who's in the field? It really doesn't. I mean, the excitement's still the same. I don't really care if I've got to root for Scotty or Gerard or whoever I've got to root for in my DFS lineups. The money spends the same. So, I feel like we've been on a little bit of a nice run here. I know Bryce had some pretty good, got pretty close to some big hits here. I thought we had some pretty good calls last week. I think this week's going to, these guys in the chat and the guys watching are going to be relying on you guys a lot more this week, I think, with some names maybe that we're not used to. So, I mean, let's dive into what we're looking at. Again, they're down at Jack's place, PGA, down in, is it Palm Beach Gardens, I guess.
Yeah.
And I did not play Jack's, but I think Arnie's got I played the Arnie course there. I've never played the Jack course. So, but it's a beautiful facility over there. And weather is going to, you want to jump into the weather before we even go? We've got of course, the weather tool over on the app. Might as well show it to you guys again. For me, this has been, because I get, I'm still getting the calls. I mean, why am I even pretending I don't? But it is helping me in quickly analyzing the weather. And the calls I'm referring to are JBC, who loves to hit me up all the time for the weather. But hold on one sec. Let me grab it.
He keeps saying, he's like, what's this tool saying? What's the tool saying? I'm like, you know how to read it. Like we definitely showed you like how to use this thing like pretty well. So that's kind of funny. We were kind of talking a bit about it before the show. It just kind of agrees with what you think. It's like Florida mornings in general. I think it's pretty significant for Showdown, I think, if you want to get into it here.
Yeah, I mean, we could get into it. I'll try to make it a little bit bigger so we can see. Yeah, I mean, we just added a little bit as far as the just like a kind of a quick guide as to what each day looks like. So, it's fairly good here tomorrow. I'm going to scroll down. You're looking the afternoon. We're getting like winds get up 10, 11 miles per hour, but the gusts, that's going to be the key here. Florida, the afternoons tend to be a little bit windy. And I'm looking at, do I have it on I have it on consensus for both. This is the key. Are we going to get any delays here on Friday afternoon? So we'll see if that occurs. We're looking at the delay probability at about 30%, not particularly high. Florida, look, we get rain. This is not our rainy time of year. We do get rain. Kind of typically you could kind of play through the rain here. The weather, it's not going to be crazy as far as the wind goes. So I think whatever rain we do get, they play through. And I honestly, it'll probably help these guys unless it's an absolute downpour, which I don't think we're going to get. It should help these guys as far as the green softening a bit. So when we're looking at the edges, we've got the wave advantage, and that just looks at the Thursday, Friday scores. When you look at the advantage, just strictly speaking, wind, it's going to combine the wind when each of these guys are playing. It's going to combine their Thursday and their Friday tee times and look at when they're getting the worst of it. So you can see like the Taylor Moore, that's 6:45. That's the first group. Moore, Higgs, LaBoida, and Eckroat. Willett. Yeah, I guess they're teeing off on front and back right tomorrow, and Hostler. So they've got those 6 guys teeing off at 6:45. They're getting the best of it as far as tomorrow morning. Friday, it's about a shot. It's going to play about a shot harder for these guys come Friday, but that Thursday Friday split AM to PM looks like it's going to be a little bit better. You're basically losing a shot and a third playing in that grouping, and then if you scroll all the way down here to what is the last tee times going out at 1:35, those guys are going to be facing about 2 1/3 shots plus based on the wind factor. So they're kind of getting the worst of it. 8:45 tomorrow is still a shot of wind factored in. So you're looking at about a shot differential between the best and the worst of it as far as the early AM tomorrow goes with the PM on Friday. So take that into account when you're building your lineups. Certainly tomorrow for the other thing, I didn't even show it there, but if you're doing any showdown stuff, that's where I think you're really going to find the biggest edges in showdowns. You don't necessarily need the app for that one. The early times will be a little bit better tomorrow, and it looks like a lot of the differential maybe tomorrow will be a little bit better than on Friday. So anyway, that's that on the weather. You can check out Wiley's got a new fun little model that he's got his typical model that he shows each and every week over for Run Pure Sports, and now he's given it. You've got the ability inside of the of Run Pure now to kind of mess with the model, and you can mess with the stats and see who you like. And who'd we say that Wiley's model is on?
David Ford.
It's on Ford, yeah. So you got to be careful when you're just strictly looking at stats. And I'm not saying Ford's not a good player, but stats are always or can always be a little bit misleading. I think Snyder, you were mentioning, I think a lot of it's Korn Ferry. You're looking at stats on that tour. While he is a really good ball striker, which is why he's showing up high on the Wiley model, and may show up well on the model when you guys mess with it. It's probably a lot of that has to do with his stats from that tour. So you got to take that into account a bit. But anyway, let's get this thing rolling here. I guess we're going to start from the 9K range, right? So I'm going to start with Schneider. Let's look at 9K. We got one guy I didn't mention here, Koepka, coming back, playing in Florida on the PGA Tour. Koepka should like that's actually close to where he lives, so I know he's familiar with this golf course. But you've got Lowry up at the top. Lowry, when was the last time, if ever, he was the highest salaried golfer in a field on DraftKings? But Lowry, here he is, 9,900. You got Gerard. You got the brothers, Rasmus and Nicola, Mitchell, Thor, and then we've got another Rasmus, Nygaard, Peterson, and then Koepka rounding out the 9K and above. Snyder, what are we doing here at this 9K plus price point?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go right to Ryan Gerard as my top play here. We've been on him a ton this year. And like Bryce was saying, the ball striking has just been absolutely phenomenal for him. He gained over 4 strokes approach in his last event at the Genesis at Riv, but he lost almost 5 strokes total with the short game there. Almost lost 4 with the putting, and then lost another one around the green there. He definitely struggles with his POA at times, and then he comes home here to Florida, home game for him as well. He was 4th here back in 2023 as well, so very familiar with this type of course and everything that it presents. So really high on Ryan Gerard at 9,700. He's the favorite over on Pinnacle as well, just edging out Shane Lowry by a couple points over there. And then I actually do like Brooks quite a bit here. I think I'm going to be overweight on him to the field. Gets a home game for him. He's talked about his game kind of coming along slowly. He wants to get in contention a couple times before Augusta. He's talked about, so he's definitely in game mode. He used to kind of take these lesser events kind of off. I think he's more engaged than ever, trying to gear up for Augusta and the majors coming up. So looking forward to Brooks kind of getting in contention here. It's been a while since he's played this event, but his last finish here was a T16 a few years back. Just plays these Florida golf courses really well. Practices here all the time. Just looking at how many times he's played this. He's played this 5 or 6 times. I had a T2 here back in 2019 as well. So, and Koepka actually did his. He had to donate that $5 million coming back over from Live, and he made a pretty big chunk of that to this event's charitable contributions with Jack Nicklaus and everything that he's got going on. So a lot on the line, I think, for him. I think he's going to come out and show out here in front of the friends and family down there. And then I prefer Nikolai over Rasmus. It looks like they're both going to see a decent amount of ownership. Nikolai I expect to be the higher owned. He's definitely playing a lot better golf than Rasmus. I think Rasmus is a little too high priced. His game is a little higher variance than I like to usually play. He's been fine. He's been top 30 in his last 2 starts. Was T44 at the Amex, but Nikolai was T3 at the Waste Management and had some good finishes overseas before he came over stateside and had that T22 and then T3. So he's right in the mix. I think his game, if it does get windy here, I think he's got the perfect game playing from overseas and such. His ball flight's really good. He can hit those low stingers and such if he needs to. So I like Nikolai quite a bit. Theo Bornson, I'm always high on him in tournaments. I love the upside that he has. T3, the Waste Management, had a top 20 at the Farmers as well. So I'll be on Thor. Off the pretty rough start there at Pebble Beach, but he's going to hit the greens at a high clip. He's hitting greens regulation last 24 rounds at 75%. So Thor is going to be my 3rd favorite. And then Lowry's up there too. I'm not sure if I'm just going to field Lowry yet or if I'm going to try and get overweight on him. I think it's going to be pretty easy to get overweight on 4 or 5 of these guys up here in the top range if you want. I expect at least 3 or 4 of them to be relatively similar ownership, around 20-25%. Maybe one of them approaches 30%. But I'll probably be around the field on Lowry, who has excellent course history here. He was one of the guys that talked about the overseed here. He hates the overseed. He's like, it made it too easy. He relied on his game down there. He wanted to play tougher, to closer to single digit winning score, but he's got phenomenal course history here as well. So Gerard 1 for me. Brooks is going to be my biggest sell kind of leverage play in this range, and then Nikolai and Lowry, and then Thor as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested first, Bryce, on are we going to see the ownership for this grouping, this 9K and above, kind of inflated because of the fact that we just have no one over 10? Are people just going to gravitate here to the 9K range with the lack of real high salary?
Yeah, and I think these guys are significantly better plays than the 8K range. I'll just come out and say it now. So, you'll see most teams. I think kind of the shock way to go about it would be you can pick up to 3 guys from this range and still make a playable team. I'd probably say that the chalkiest builds would probably be Gerard, Lowry, and then a bunch of good guys in the 7Ks, maybe an 8K guy mixed in there. Would kind of be the chalk way to build. So those are my 2 favorite golfers this week, and they're my 2 highest owned are Gerard and Lowry. It's just kind of easy to get them. And those are the 2 guys I feel most comfortable spending on when I don't I have all this extra salary this week. It's those are kind of the 2 luxury assets that I'll prioritize here. I do prefer Gerard to Lowry here. I just think he has a ton of upside, coming back to Florida, and I think he's gonna be able to putt here a lot better than he did in California, and his ball striking is absolutely on point right now. So he is my number one this week, and he's also my highest leverage in this range. Actually, I lied. Brooks, according to SaberSim, is higher leverage for me than Gerard is. So, yeah, those are my two favorite overall. Favorite guys when we're taking ownership into account here would probably be toss Brooks in the mix with those two, and Keith Mitchell would be my kind of favorites. I think the Hogarths are good here. I definitely prefer Nikolai to Rasmus, although I don't mind Rasmus in tournaments. Like, I think all these guys have upside. The one I don't really have interest in is RNP, Nørgaard Peterson here. Just kind of seems like he's a little out of his element with this group, but this tournament is obviously pretty wide open, so I'm not eliminating him from my pool, but he is less than he's like, I have him like 7% out of everyone else, double digits here. Most of these guys in the 20s, just because like you're able to pay for him. So I do like the 9K range this week. Who did I touch on here? Thor. I think he might go a little over-owned here. Right now, I'm like exactly field. Saber has him at 23%. I'm at 23% as well. So if I field him, I'm totally fine this week. But I want to be over on most of these guys. None of them are huge sells for me besides RNP.
Yeah, I think the strategy this week for me, this 9K range, I think you got to kind of figure out who do you want to fade here? Because I think we're going to get some overvalue, a lot of overvalue, because I think we're going to see that ownership a bit inflated. I'm going to tell you the guy who's the favorite. I'm going to give you the guy to fade. And I know, and it's the guy you both like. I'm going to fade Gerard, man. I'm playing it. I'm doing the opposite. When I traded on Wall Street, it's like you don't want to, you don't want to go against the trends here. You don't want to like catch the falling knife, and you don't want to try to short a stock that's just crazy running hot. But man, he has just blown by his shots, his total shot gain. If you look at that number, he was kind of in a range for the last year and a half, in a range just kind of fluctuating back and forth there, and he has just shot right through where he's kind of where he was capped every time he hit like a peak and kind of came back down. I just don't know. He's like double as good as he was maybe a year or so ago, if any of that makes sense when I'm looking at the charts. So I'm just going to try to pick a top here and say Gerard is the guy to fade. I'm going to take one of the guys who's probably going to be the highest owned in this group, and I'm going to go with Lowry as my favorite choice here in the group. I think Koepka is another guy here. I'm a little nervous about Koepka to play. He'll probably be right, maybe the second or third lowest, I think, of this entire group. So I don't think I'm going too far out on a limb here, but I don't think any of these guys are going to be particularly all that low owned. But if I'm going to take of the favorites, of the guys who are going to get some ownership, I'm taking a shot on Gerard being the guy that doesn't get it done for everybody, and the guy that everyone's complaining about come Friday on X. So that's going to be my play. And if you look at the I've been looking at the first round leader market. So they are obviously favoring these guys playing in the morning. So keep that in mind also if you're putting your bets out there. But Lowry's the guy who has really good course history here. I know he's complained, but last year, 11th place here, T11, complained. I think he's just complaining the fact that he thinks he's got an advantage when this course is even more difficult. And he probably does because of how good his course history has been at this place. I mean, he's got it's got 3 top 5s in the last 4 years. The worst he did was that last year, 11th. So, I mean, Gerard had a pretty good showing here back in 2023 when hardly anyone knew who he was. Still 25th here last year. Mitchell's got a couple of top 10s in this group as well. So some decent showings from these guys as far as course history goes. But yeah, I'm going to pretty much be. I'm going to get light on Koepka, light on Gerard. I'm over the market on Lowry, and both Rasmus and Nikolai. I'm going to take the brothers short as well, and I think I'll be right around the market here, 15-20% on Mitchell. Same with Thor, around 20%, maybe 10% on Nørgaard Peterson. All right, let's head down to the 8K and above range. Bryce, get ready. We're going to be starting with you here, but it's a big. I don't know if it's a big drop off, but man, it's going to be big. It's going to be got a lot of golfers that we normally maybe wouldn't be factoring in are going to be coming in here at decent ownership. You've got Berger at the 8,900. Is it? I always say Ra, but it's Rye. Is it Aaron Rye? I always say Ra, but I think it's
Rye.
Bazuna Hoot. Good luck if I said that right. Thompson, the other Thor, Zalatoris, Smalley, McGreevy, Hautong, and Meisner. That's your 8K range. Just kind of looking at the betting markets. Yeah, nothing stands out outside of the fact that Bez and Olsen, those guys maybe are the standouts to the bad side, not really fitting in this range in the betting market. And then the golfer in this range, the highest, it's McGreevy and Thompson are the biggest favorites. Am I right? Oh, with Berger, of course. So Berger's the biggest favorite there, followed by those other two guys. So, Bryce, I'm going to head it over to you. What are we thinking here, 8K and above? I got a feeling, we're going to get some ownership here.
Yeah, I mean, I think anything kind of expensive in salary this week might get a little oversteamed, just because you have it to spend when you normally wouldn't. But yeah, I'm going to be higher on the 9Ks than these guys. I do kind of like Berger. He'd be my favorite play at the top end here. I much prefer him to like a Rye or a Bez this week. I have him about twice as owned as those guys. Davis Thompson, I think, will come in kind of high owned this week. I'll probably be the file I'm looking at playing here has 13% Davis Thompson. So I think he's a okay play, not great, definitely not bad. The guys I don't really like in this range are Olsen and that's kind of it. Like even Bays this week, I think, he can get a hot enough putter to where that he can run super well. Definitely not like my favorite player or anything, but I do prefer him to Olsen here. Zalatoris, obviously the guy has a ton of upside, but he's extremely hard to trust, kind of like a $25 GPP type of play to me. Alex Smalley, I think he's all right. Don't absolutely love him. The main reason I would like him is just because I think McGreevy comes in super high owned here. I think he's pretty clearly like the best 8K play in my opinion, and probably the market's opinion as well. So I'm looking at being over 20% on McGreevy, but not going nuts. I have 21 right now, and that projects as a sell to me. So I definitely think he's going to be the chalk of this range here. And then, for that reason, I kind of like Hautong as well. You get sandwiched in between Meisner and McGreevy here in terms of pricing. I don't think a lot of people will click him, but he obviously has a ton of upside, and I'm okay being a buyer on him as random of a player as he can be. So I have him double digit owned here, and I think he'll come in like 6 or 7% type of deal. I can't really imagine that anyone's clicking at him here. And then Meisner, I think it's a solid play. I think he comes in pretty high owned as well, kind of like McGreevy. So, I project high teens on him for myself, and probably low 20s for the field. So, if these guys come in lower owned than I expected, I'm totally fine being over on McGreevy and Meisner. I think they're good plays, but this is kind of where I start to flatten out my ownership a little bit and, look for leverage.
All right. 8K and above, Mitch. It's an interesting group of golfers here for sure. It could be where we win it or lose it. What do you like here in this range?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting here. I prefer the 9Ks. I'd rather start with 2 or 3 of those guys, but coming down to this 8K range, I think the name that draws the most speculation for me, just on so much boom or bust, is Will Zalatoris. I mean, he could definitely win this event, or he could miss the cut like he did in his last event. The thing that worries me the most with Big Will is the putter. I mean, he has just not figured that putter out at all. I mean, he's going back to last year. He's lost 7 of his last 8 events. And this year he lost over 2 strokes putting at the Farmers. Did all right at the Amex at PGA West. But then he just hasn't found that putter for the last year. So that kind of worries me. The approach play wasn't that good in his last event either at the Farmers, but he's got the upside that he can battle with the top guy in this field. So I'm going to have some Zalatoris. Probably try and get around even on him. Berger's another guy that will probably just be even on. His game kind of worries me. His last 3 events, the short game has just kind of went by the wayside. The last 3 or 4 events, generally he's going to putt better on this Bermuda grass. He's played this event quite a few times. Most notably before he suffered that injury, he had pretty good success here. A couple of top 5s, back in 2020 and 2022. But the approach play has kind of went wayside for him too in the last 2 events. He lost 2.5 strokes at Pebble with the irons, and he lost at the Genesis with the irons too. He lost across the board last week as well. So that's the one thing that worries me with Berger, but I'll probably be around 12 to 15% or something on Berger though. I'm going to be underweight on McGreevy too. I think he's definitely the markets like him the best. He's going to have the highest ownership, but I think I'm going to play some of the guys up top that at ownership. So I think McGreevy's kind of going to be one of my bigger sells in this event. Looking at the short game, he's lost with the flat stick in his last 3 events. The approach play has worsened in the last 3 events as well. So I think his game is kind of trending downward. Missing the cut at the Genesis was T48, T29, T30 in a couple of the other events. If he finishes T40 or something, T30, I think I'll be fine being underweight on him. So that's going to be one of my bigger stands ownership-wise. I do like Alex Smalley a little better. Like that's going to be my 1v1 there. I'm going to go Smalley over McGreevy there. Smalley's game's kind of picking up. Missed cut at the Farmers, T35 at the Phoenix, and then T19 at Pebble Beach. His putters come back. His iron play is progressed in those last 3 events. The off the tee game is good. Gained nearly 3 strokes off the tee at Pebble. So I like Alex Smalley in this range. Kind of a little leverage play to McGreevy there. Same price, or Alex Smalley is actually 100 more. So I'm going to be higher on him. Ho-Tong Lee is a really strong upside play. Last 24 rounds, he's gaining over a stroke tee to green. Had those pretty big finishes early in the year at the Farmers T11 and then T8 at the Amex as well. Love the upside Ho-Tong has at a course like this. I think it should be a good fit for him. Really good off the tee, really good with the irons, good ball striker. Hits greens and regulation just under 75% in his last 24 rounds. So I like Ho-Tong quite a bit. I think Mac Messier is definitely fine to have in the pool. T18 in his last start. But my favorite guy in this range, I'm going to go Alex Smalley is my favorite. And then I'm just going to kind of play Zalatoris, Berger at the field. I'll be under McGreevy, and then I'll have Ho-Tong Lee maybe slightly over on him.
Yeah, I think when I'm just looking at the stats for this course, at least, I think Bez has some of the best stats. The market doesn't like him, and I think part of it's going to be weather. So if you are factoring in the weather, and like I said, we're looking at maybe a stroke differential here. He's teeing off fairly late, 12:47 tomorrow. He may be, maybe to the field, he's probably going to lose about a half a stroke. So it's not the end of the world to the field. But you look at his numbers. I mean, around the green, he's one of the best in the field right here over his last 10 and 25. He's got some of the best putting numbers in this field, certainly in this range, the best. So if you're gonna discount maybe the weather, I kind of like Bez as a low owned, decently. I don't think he's going to be terribly high owned option here. I think McGreevy's another guy. He's obviously had success, 4th place here. I think that's another one who might be peaking. He is at the top of where he, these golfers just they go in ebbs and flows, and he's right at the top of his game right now. So I'm kind of looking to call a top on a McGreevy. I'm calling the Gerard and McGreevy top this week, so we'll see. how much that kicks me in the teeth. But so, statistically, yeah, it looks pretty good. The putter is a little bit of a question here. It hasn't been great with the putter. I mean, and speaking of you're right with Zalatoris. I mean, it's just atrocious. The putter. I don't know if I can trust Zalatoris here. I think I'm really looking for in this group. I don't love the group on the whole. So I think I'd be looking maybe to just get an edge with some of these guys playing in the morning. I think maybe Meisner might be the best of this group. Statistically, early tee times, got the 7:09, one of the earlier tee times going tomorrow. So when I look at him around the greens, I look at his putting as of late. I look at his approach, I'm putting a lot of weight on approach here. The greens aren't that all that large, and I think you've got to be pretty good around the greens here and with the putter, more so than really driving distance this week. It's not really a driving distance course. I want to be a little bit more accurate than necessarily bombing it out there. You don't have to be a bomber at this place. So I think in this group, maybe Meisner, another guy who I guess he's going to be maybe in the teens. What do you think as far as ownership? It'd be like Houtung, Meisner, McGree would be those guys.
Teens, I guess, like what, 16, 17?
Yeah, he's going to be around
Saber
there.
Has 21. I think that's a little high.
Yeah, so I think somewhere, probably, in the high teens probably makes sense. So I might be a little bit over on Meisner. I'm going to stick in this group. I'm going to stick a little. I'm going to get over mostly on these guys who are outside of McGreevy, who are coming in the early tee times and take a shot. I just don't. I don't love the group as a whole. So let's get down to the 7,500 and above range. So that'll take us to Homa, Kirk, Jordan L. Smith, Kiefer, Reton. Is that it? Rayton?
Yeah, I think
Christopher.
Yeah.
Seamus, Power, Rico Hoey, Valimaki, Parry, Jaeger. I say it's Jaeger bomb. So Jaeger.
Yeah.
If he doesn't pronounce it Jaeger. And it doesn't matter how many times I hear these names on the weekend. I just never remember. Castillo, Hughes, rounded out at 7,500. So from 7,500 up, Mitch, what do you see here in this range? What do we think about ownership? Who are the favorites? Who are we punting? Talk to me.
I think there's some pretty good upside plays in this range. I think probably – I don't think anyone gets too crazy high ownership here, maybe around 15% or something. I think Johnny Kiefer might be the guy that would be one of the higher owned guys in this range. I like him quite a bit here. Really good with the ball striking. Is gaining nearly a full stroke approach last 24 rounds, hitting greens just under 77% clip too. Just been playing some pretty strong golf, and I look for him to come back to. I think he's had some pretty good history, more history putting on Bermuda grass versus the POA grass. He lost every event putting on and that POA on the West Coast swing. Just looking through some college stuff, he's putted better historically on this Bermuda grass. So I think he's going to get a good bump there. Gained 3.6 strokes approach in his last event at the Waste Management. Gained off the tee and all those. And if you're really good off the tee here, you can there's some holes here where you can take some more aggressive lines here. If you're trusting your tee ball, you can cut some corners here and take some pretty aggressive lines, which also equates to why this event has the highest double bogey rate of any event, because you can get into some trouble here if you bite off too much. But I think Johnny Kiefer's a guy that can use that strength of his off the tee, ball striking. I like him quite a bit in this range. Jordan L. Smith, kind of like a safer guy here. I think he's a guy that'll T30 this event pretty easily. Has done that twice already on the West Coast swing. T27 at the Amex, T16 at the Waste Management. Homa, I'll probably be under on Homa. I don't really trust him that much. His game just looks off. Miscut T66, T37, so he's slowly getting better. But the Genesis is one of his favorite courses to play at, and he was T37 there. Kind of worried about him. Chris Kirk, really bad form heading in. 3 missed cuts in his last 4. Just barely made the cut. I at the Pebble Beach there, T52 there. But he has a win here in 2023 at T7. Really good course history here. So I think Chris Kirk's an interesting guy. He's finished inside the top 30 in 4 of his last 5 trips here. So I like Chris Kirk for some upside. I don't think he's going to get too much ownership. He could get approached like maybe double digit, I think, potentially. But he's a guy I'll be looking at. Christopher Retan, I've played him the last couple of events that he's played. Nothing stellar, but he was T30, T41. He's got some good upside. He won that event overseas back in December, so he has some winning upside. Really good off the tee. The rest of his game is just up and down, but he's one of the better ones off the tee. So I like Retan quite a bit for tournaments. And then one of my favorite plays in this range is going to be Seamus Power. Well, I think it could go overlooked a little bit. I don't see his ownership too much. I think he'll be under 10% for sure, maybe somewhere in that 5 to 8% range. But his game's kind of been trending along well. He was T31, T63, and then T11 at the Farmers, where his putter is just getting better and better in his last 4 events. Almost gained 7 strokes in that event. Was really good around the greens. Usually he plays these kind of resort coastal tracks where there's a lot of water in play pretty well. We've seen him have some success in some of those, like at the RSM on Bermuda grass. He was good there. Gained strokes putting there. So I like Seamus quite a bit in this range, 7,600. I think Seamus is going to be my number 1 play in this range, followed by Johnny Kiefer.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this group on the whole, it is not a group that's really putting all that well. So you mentioned Seamus, probably the best going into this tournament right now with the putter out of this entire group. And you mentioned double bogeys. We didn't talk about it earlier, but I think the most water of any golf course that they play on tour, I think 15 holes, water comes into play. Certainly that's a big part of the bear trap. 2 par 3s on that bear trap, water on both. So yeah, the opportunities to make double bogeys, bogey avoidance here is usually, and maybe more so in the past, a big stat to look at. Bryce, we're looking at the guys here, 7,500 up to 7,900. What are we seeing here? Who do you like? Who do you don't like?
This is kind of where it gets a little, with Gerard when Ryan Gerard's the favorite, I assume that, the rest of the field isn't going to be the strongest. So, you get into some of these. I really like, just to preface the 7K range, I really like the 7K range as opposed to like the 6s. So this is kind of the range I want to live in for value. I don't really want to punt too much this week just because I don't think you have to. Obviously punt golfer can win. So, if you're on one, don't let me talk you out of them. But yeah, it's just not something I'm looking to do in a lot of lineups. So I do like the 7K range. I don't love Max Homa. If he beats me, he beats me. I'm gonna have him like 5%. Like I'm not clicking at any of these guys, just because I kind of want to live in this range as opposed to like the cheaper range. But he's not really it for me this week. Chris Kirk, I think is fine. John Kiefer, I definitely agree with Snyder on him. Pretty high on Kiefer this week. I'll definitely have him double digits. He projects as a pretty good leverage play for me here in Sabre. Jordan Smith, I actually think he has some upside this week. I should be double digits on him. I doubt he steams too much. Sabre here has him at about 9% owned. It wouldn't surprise me if he came in lower than that. Retan, I think is fine as well. Don't mind him. Might shift a little bit. This file's a little high on him. I don't really want double digits on him. Probably 8 or 9% for me here. Seamus Power, I'm not quite as high on as Snyder, but he's definitely going to come in low on. So it's not going to take a ton to get over on him. Like, if you get to double digits on him, you might be 2 times the field here. So I like him simply for leverage, but Snyder made some compelling points here. Might get higher on him than Retan because of that. Valmaki, I just think is a guy with long-term upside here that I'm willing to take a shot on in tournaments. Would not sniff a cash game for me. The My favorite play in this range is Rico Hoey. Kind of tough putting game, but I'm willing to take a chance on some poorer putters this week, or guys who have been putting poorly out on the West Coast. See if the East Coast swing can heat up the putter in the short game a bit. Because he's really striking his irons well, and he's a good odds play as well. So count me in on Rico Hoey. Steven Yeager, I would like more if he wasn't Eskimo Brothers with Mark. I wouldn't have to hear about it every time he does well. So I'm about 8% on him, which is probably going to be over the field here. I doubt anyone plays him. Ricky Castillo, Mackenzie Hughes, and John Perry. I would rank Perry, Hughes, Castillo. So I don't love the 7.5s here. I would personally rather get down in the 7.4s or get up to like a Rico Hoey. I think some of these guys in the lower 7Ks are pretty strong plays this week, I think.
I forgot to mention one guy I was going to hit on. I think he's going to be a little popular, Sammy Valimaki. I think he's a solid upside play, really good with the irons. The thing that worries me with Valimaki is he's lost a stroke off the tee in his last 3 events. And if you get wayward off the tee here, that double bogey kind of comes into play rather easily. So I like Valimaki. I'm just not going to be too high on him, but I'm going to have him around field for sure, just for the upside. He can get super hot and be like that first round leader type guy too, or something like that, like we've seen in the past.
Yeah, it's just a guy who can miss cuts, so he's going to be a boom bust type of guy for you. Mm-hmm. I mean, historically, he does drive the ball. He's fairly accurate, not totally one of the more inaccurate guys out here. So yeah, if he's driving the ball well, I'm with you on that. And not a long hitter, which we don't need necessarily at this course. I would like to play Seamus as well with you. The betting markets just don't like it. I mean, when you look at the stats, I'm talking about the putter. I think in this group, probably the best putting stats right now out of this group, and really around the green has been playing fairly well. But I think that late tee time is really what's driving the markets right now. We're seeing a lot of the earlier tee time golfers just get the best of it. You look at the market. Valimaki is a later start, but he has one of the shorter odds in this group. Kiefer, it has the shortest odds, I believe, what I was looking at earlier, and Hoey. I like Hoey as a little bit of a bounce. I'm looking at kind of fading some of the guys who I think peaked. I might be looking at Hoey as a bounce here on his shot gain total. I like me a little Rico Hoey. I'm going to play some of these early guys, like I said. So a little bit of success. T25 here last year. The one thing in this group, if you take 2 guys at the 9K range, you could basically take 4 guys in this range and fill out the lineup, right? So I don't know. I have a feeling this is going to be, I think this mid 7 to high 7K range might get a little bit more ownership maybe than some people are projecting, because I don't think a lot of people want to dip down to get to the real slop here under 7K. And so if you're playing 2 or 3 guys up in the, you play 2 guys over 9, play someone else in the low 8s. I mean, you can get 3 other guys here, 7,500 or so, right? So I think that's where we're going to see the bulk of the ownership. And perhaps maybe when we dip down here, we start getting a little bit lower. This could be where we win it, 7,400 and down to 7K. I won't go over each one of these guys. You don't have to go over them all in detail. But I'm going to head over to Bryce here. Bryce, pick me out a few guys that either we have to play, some guys that you might think aren't going to get terribly owned, but you want to get over the market, get a little leverage on someone in this range. This set, because it appears to me like from everything you're saying, you're not going much lower than this in your builds, right? So this is going to be kind of the bottom of the barrel here, and we're going to get some fairly low ownership. So maybe we can get some leverage. So what do you like in this range, 7K up to 7,400?
My favorite play here is Michael Brennan. I think that the field might agree with me a bit there, but we have him projected for 12% ownership. I'm going to be high teens, low 20s on him. I think he's one of the better plays in the field here. 7,200, very, very nice price on him as well. And then just going down the list here, I'll just point out guys I do like, or I really do like, or really don't like. Tom Kim, I'm a buyer on this week. Echeverria, I'm a buyer on. Gim, I will be a seller on. Looks like Kevin, you will be a buy as well. David Ford's going to be a buy. Hopefully not just going off his Corn Ferry stats, but he's a quality golfer. So, if he comes in super low owned, I will be a buyer here. Vince Whaley, I think I'm going to be a buyer on. I'm not really massively selling anyone here. I just kind of, because, I have all these guys kind of owned like 4 or 5% type of deal, like at a minimum. So I'll probably be higher on these guys than like the field as a whole. So I'm just kind of a buyer on this range. I would kind of extend the discussion maybe down to like the 6-8 type of range, because, you can, like, if you put in the quality of golfers, you can get down there like a Dylan Wu, Andrew Putnam, like a Deechishar, or however you say that name. Like, they're kind of the same quality of golfer as like these guys in the 7s. But like when you get below that, to me, I think it kind of drops a tier. So that's kind of where I cut it off. Joel Damon, I think is okay here. I think he has some upside. Don't think that anyone else is huge leverage here that I missed for you guys. I mentioned Vince Whaley. I like him a decent amount. Just some of these plotters that you wouldn't really be excited to play at other courses and other fields specifically, I think are a lot more in play this week than they normally are.
Yeah, just looking at the betting markets in this group, I mean, the guys, it's Echeverria, I guess, Tom Kim, Cole, Higo, Brennan, and Ford, really, right? Ford's got the worst tee time, if that means anything to you. He's got the 135. So if the weather holds the way it is, he's got the worst tee time of anyone outside of the other two guys he's playing with at 135. So I'm going to toss it over to you there, Mitch. Who are we looking at 7K up to 7,400 that you think? Give me the guy who may be in the winner here. Who do you like most to be in a winner? Is it a couple of guys that you like to maybe be in a winner down here, and we're going to take a whole bunch of guys up at 9K, or do you just not like this group at all?
I think I'm right there with Bryce and with Michael Brennan, just kind of digging into his stats. He's an East Coast guy, Wake Forest alum, has putted his best on Bermuda. That's his top performance. He was T20 or T18 at the Bermuda Classic here in the fall. And then you look what he did on the West Coast on that POA. He was just absolutely horrible on those greens. Lost at least 2 strokes in his last 3 events. Just did not do well. DQ'd himself at the Farmers, where he messed up on the scorecard, had to DQ himself. So I like the upside that he has. He won that event back in the fall, back in October. I think it was in Utah. He won that Black Desert Championship out there. So really high on Brennan. You look at his stats, some of his best putting performances since he turned pro have been on this Bermuda surface. So I really like him. Hopefully people are looking at the stats and see him being a poor putter and such and kind of get off of him. But Brennan, I love the upside he has. He can nuke it off the tee if he has to. Don't really have to too much around here, but that's in his bag there. So I like Brennan quite a bit. A guy I'm going to take a shot on this week that probably not many people will is going to be Billy Horschel. I kind of like him to find some form here. Florida guy, has played this event really well the last 4 years. He's been inside the top 25 in 3 of those 4 trips. So I think Billy Horschel is an interesting, like, not the Millie Maker, but the $20 lotto play. I like his upside here. So I'm going to have some Billy Horschel. I think Kevin Roy is a fine option there. Chris Ventura has good upside. He's been T35 or better in his last 5 of his last 6 events. So I think Ventura is a good option down here. Eckroat won this event a couple years ago. Doesn't have the best form coming in. And then you look at where's our guy? David Ford. I think David Ford has some upside. Just a really, really good ball striker. But it's going to be boom or bust with him when you look at his recent form on tour here. He's missed 3 of his last 5 cuts, T50 at the Sony, but then he popped at the Amex at T13. So that's definitely in the range of outcomes for David Ford, even with the bad tee time that he has. I think he's solid. Definitely a guy to have in your player pool. S.H. Kim was a guy that played really well early in the year at the MX Sony. He was top 20 in both of those and was good overseas before that. The last 2 events hasn't played his best. Sam Ryder is always a guy to look out for. Really good course history here. I bet him first-round leader. He goes out early tomorrow, so he's a first-round leader type guy too that I like. So he's up there. Eric Cole, I think, is a really strong play. Rather consistent, rather safer guy. Was second here a couple years ago. T27 at the Farmers, T27 at the Amex. Missed the cut at the Phoenix Open, but I think he's fine. And I'm kind of keeping my eye on Tom Kim. He's not back to where he used to be or where he was at one time, but back-to-back top 35 finishes for Tom Kim at 7,400. In this type of field, I think needs to be in the player pool. And then Doug Gim's another guy with good course history here, T11 and T16 in his last 2 trips.
Yeah, Gim definitely probably get a little bit of ownership because of that that course history. Yeah, you mentioned Ventura. I don't think a lot of people are really looking at Ventura. If you're looking for the best putter as like right now in this grouping, it's probably Ventura. I mean, Brown, who's playing, I believe, is playing in the same grouping with him tomorrow, and putting well also. Boy, Sam Ryder's a guy that nobody wants to play, but his putting numbers are good. Everything else is pretty atrocious around the greens. Has been terrible, but yeah. So if you're looking for putters, those would be the guys that are playing well right now. Eckroat, as far as approach shots, looks very good. So yeah, I think you got some. There's some options down here at the 7K, and it works this way with just about everything. And DFS is kind of finding that cheap guy who's going to go off. I think we did a pretty good job last week of finding some of those golfers. So hopefully some of the ones that we're looking at here this week. Did you actually, one guy I was looking at on the market was Svensson's odds. What did you think about him, Mitch, on Svensson?
Svensson's a guy that I just haven't really got a grasp on him. Played fine in his last tournament and played fine in his last trip here. Hits greens regulation at a high clip. Good ball striker. The short game kind of holds him back at times, but a 7K in this field, I think he's definitely a guy that can top 30 in this event easily.
Yeah, he's live. I mean, the numbers look all pretty good. He's got the late tee time. It's just the putting numbers that have been really, really bad, but it's getting a decent look in the betting markets, right? On if you look over on Penny, for a 7K price range, his number, he's about plus 7,900 over at Pinnacle, plus 7,800, which is not terrible. It's one of the better, one of the shorter odds here for anyone in this range. So definitely someone to maybe look at. We're certainly not going to go through every 6K guy, but is there anyone here, Mitch, in the 6K range up to 7K that you think we need to be looking at?
There's a few guys I like down here. I'm probably going to hitch my wagon to Luke Clanton. I mean, he hasn't done anything as of late, but I think this is one of those spots where he can kind of flip his game around and kind of revert to some of that form we saw from him last year. He was in that. I think he was in that picture with JBC on the thumbnail at that DK final. Out in Scottsdale. He played well out there. He lives here. This is his home course, and he finished his last trip here. He finished T18, gained strokes across the board. So I think he can kind of feel comfortable here. So I'm going to be higher on Luke Clanton than probably the rest of the field. Has been putting horribly out west. Comes back to Bermuda, where he's a little more familiar with gained strokes putting over 2 strokes at this event last year. So I like Luke Clanton at 6,600. A couple other guys I'll look at is Blades Brown. I think he's solid. The markets are pretty high on Zheng Zhu, or however you say his name, down here under 7K. Andrew Putnam, Dylon Wu, Davis Riley is a name down here with some upside. But I don't want to definitely be getting too carried away down here, though.
Yeah, you can't. There's really no need, I don't think. We talked about it earlier, to get too heavy in this range. Bryce, anyone down sub 7K that you feel like we need to get in our player pool?
I'll just go through just quickly again, guys who project as buys to me, just because there's not going to be tons of them here. I wouldn't play multiple guys down here, but I think Phillips is decent. Bo Hostler, Dow, Clanton, Kanaya, Blades Brown. I think Fisk is okay. And Deschessar. I have no idea how to say his name, but those are the guys who project as buys for me. Everyone else is going to be sell below the sixes. If I had to pick a couple here, I kind of agree with Snyder on Clanton. I don't want to steam him too much, just because I'm not going to be like super high on him or anything. But he would probably be my favorite, just because I liked him when we met him, and he is a young guy with upside. It's his home course, so that's good. That's like under 7K here. That's good enough for me.
You can play 3 9K guys, plug in Clanton, and still get probably a couple higher 7K guys.
Yeah.
If you go 92, let's say you average like 9,300, 9,200. Yeah. You can definitely get these guys in. I mean, we're digging the bottom of the barrel for sure down here. The betting markets. Clanton's the guy in the betting markets, and it's at 6,600.
So he's fine.
Yeah. He's the late tee time. Take that into account. But the betting markets, at least in this range, have him. He's the favorite of everyone under 7K. So you want to look at him. I think the other guys, as far as the betting markets are giving a little bit of love, is Ramey, Hostler, Taylor Moore, the guy with 4 names, D. Shart, Shazart, Dylan Wu. Those guys getting a little bit of love. There's a few guys all kind of bunched up. Blake Brown, Lipsky. I don't know. I don't think you can get too heavy down here. I think take a couple of shots. But I got a feeling no one down here makes it into the. I'm gonna call no one sub 7K gets into the winner this week. I think they'll all be above. So that's gonna be my call of the week. All right, you guys want to do a little pick six? I think we got it. Last week they didn't have it up, but I do think when I looked at it earlier, it was there. So who's bringing it up?
I'm pulling it up now.
All right. We'll get a little.
Never mind. I think I got to do it on my phone here. Yeah, I had to do this on my phone. Sorry, guys.
All right, we will read them out to you.
Yeah. I'll post the screenshot afterwards. On my phone here. All right. Reminder. This is, and Pick Six does split it into waves. Like they have the early tee times grouped together and the late tee times grouped together. So that's kind of a good way to see like how the market is doing on strokes as well. To me, it seems it's about a stroke easier in the morning. So,
should be. Yep.
It's always nice when your models agree with that. Morning guys, I like here. I like Lowry under 68.5. He's going to be a buy for me on the week. Get it started nice and early here on Thursday.
All right, so we're going Lowry. What are we doing? Under how many? 68.5?
68.5.
Okay. Mitch, you have anyone lined up?
I'm going to go Nikolai Hogard under 68.5. It's generally pretty good in the morning.
Are we doing all morning?
No, just well, for my unders, I don't think I'll choose an under on the afternoon, guys, but I'll probably. No. I was kind of thinking in my mind under in the morning, over in the afternoon.
Well, that's why I'm gonna go with the. I know it's kind of against what you guys want. I want to take the Gerard over 68.5 though.
That's fine with me.
I want to take that one for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I mean, I'd be okay with taking him, or I was personally going to take Rasmus over 68.5 in the afternoon.
Gerard's typically not a good round one player either. He hasn't broke 7 in his last 4.
I love the Rasmus over. So if you want to steal it from me, go ahead and grab that
All
one.
Right. Well, we can take the Rasmus and the Gerard overs here. So we got 2 overs and 2 unders. Nikolai, Shane Lowry under, Rasmus and Gerard over. These are all at 68.5. Yeah, I think those are the only 68.5 lines on the board too. Everything else is pretty much a 69.5 type of deal. So yeah, I'd kind of be more willing to take overs here in general.
I like Thor. Thor's over. Thor.
Yeah, Olsen's over. That's fine. I like that play.
Yeah.
What is that? 69.5 here.
Is he at 69.5? Looking for it.
I don't see him on the board here.
Yeah, I don't see him. I'm looking for it. Is he not? Did they not put a number on him?
I don't think he has. I don't think he has a number here. Maybe on birdies and bogeys. Yeah, you can only bet his over on birdies or better. So probably pass on that one here.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that. Let's see. I'll give you another one. I really like I don't like some more. How about
there's one guy I do like. It's kind of going against the grain, but it just comes back to Seamus, who has shot 68 or better in the first round in his last 5 events. I'm going to go under 69.5 on Seamus.
All right.
His first 2 rounds, going back to the last 5 events, he's only shot over 68 once in round 1 and round 2.
Well, we got 5, or is that 6?
We got 5 right now. We need one more.
I've got Alex Smalley to the over.
Okay. So Smalley over 69.5. All right, that is your pick 6 for the week. We got Rasmus Hogard over 68.5, Ryan Gerard over 68.5, Nikolai Hogard under 68.5, Lowry under 68.5, Seamus Power under 69.5, and Smalley over 69.5. That is betting
12-1.
12-1 minimum payout here. Max 6 picks reached. All right, submit this.
Bryce will post it over on X.
And we are in.
Yeah, we got that. Oh, one note. I did watch a bit of Wiley's show. He was promoting the book that I have coming out. It is not out yet. It will be out Friday the 5th, so a week from this Friday. Book on props. If anyone is interested in learning a little bit more about how to play props, that's going to be coming out. I think we're going to be giving it away. If you become a Bets member, we'll be giving you a copy of the book for free. So that's another good way to get the book, get a little sharper, and then get all the good bets. Crushing it in the props. Was 6-3 last night. It was right now on an insane streak here with the an insane run here on the prop bets. So yeah, check out Run Pure. We've got of course all the DFS action. You got some of the best in the business right there in our Discord that you can pick their brains with all sports, golf, NBA, got MLB right around the corner. Got the new cool tool for NASCAR. Bryce, I know you're going to be pumped to kind of check that out.
Yeah.
I have been working hard on the model. The model looks very good. So I've been back testing the model. That is up for you guys if you want to do any NASCAR research for any of you NASCAR fans out there. We got a road course this week, so it's a little bit different certainly than what we've had earlier in the year. So we got all of that going. Adman, there will be no audio book because it's very there's too many formulas in there. I think you're going to have to read this one. Actually, I've got a website that's going with the book.
This is required reading.
Yeah, you got to kind of read it. But I've got a website. We're gonna have the website actually on Run Pure, so there'll be a whole link and everything on there where you can kind of go with the book. So it'll ask you questions about each chapter and see if you're.
Some are saying it's better than Billy Walters' book.
Yeah, I mean you'll learn a lot more. Let's put it that way. As much, and I have a ton of respect for Billy Walters, that's for sure. But yeah, hopefully you guys will learn something. But yeah, we'll talk about that more next week. I didn't want to get too, but just Wiley brought it up, so that's why I wanted to just mention. If anyone's looking for it on Amazon, it is not there yet. It'll be there next week. But any parting words here for us, Snyder, and then I'll head to you, Bryce.
No, Showdown will be up all 4 rounds here. I'll get round 1 up here momentarily. Was just waiting for the show to get over. Everything will be up on the site, core plays, player pools, and all that. I think JBC is putting up his player pool right now. Yeah, and we'll have all the cores up as well.
Awesome. All right. Bryce, what do you got for us as we exit?
I kind of like these shit-ass events. So, I hope everyone runs pure this week and we have some sweats at the end.
Yeah, let's get a big winner over on Run Pure. Let's add to. We had some big winners in NBA this week, so let's kind of add to it with some big hits here with the golf. I love seeing you guys who follow us each and every week, and certainly our subscribers crush it come the weekend in PGA. All right, this is Run Pure Sports, the Golf Wars show. We are here each and every Wednesday night. Check out runpuresports.com. Of course, DraftKings. Check those guys out. The Pick Six. We'll see. Put yours in. Tell us. We'll crush DraftKings. Take all their money when all you guys play the same Pick Six as us. All right, guys. We'll be back next week. Maybe JBC will be here. Maybe not. If he's not, you'll get to see me again. Good luck. We'll see you next week.
Sounds great. See you.